піду з Лірою погуляю.
А ти уроки зробила?
The story was well balanced, developing Anna as a character and working. She was working at a lonely meat plant. Her daughter barely speaks to her, of course, just wants to sit across the table from her with her cell phone in hand. And I thought it was really interesting. The idea of the party. I liked the scene when she was dancing on her own. And then where the interpreter played broken telephone and basically told her to GTFO.
This one is really good, just feels really grounded, just feels like the kind of thing that definitely could be happening, probably is happening. I don't know much about that world, but there are some universal things that I think are just very human that definitely shine through in this one. Just looking for compassion and companionship, rather, or both, and just finding that person. And I like this one overall, just everything they did, that somber mood, little playful things, the parallel of working in a meat packing factory and then basically just going to a cattle call kind of thing. I thought it all worked together really well. It's definitely worth checking out.
I thought this was really well done. You captured the dreariness and isolation that winter brings in those kinds of environments. I grew up in a place kind of like that where it's very isolating. And it also connects to the same feeling of being single and kind of isolated from the rest of the world and not dating anyone and trying to find someone to connect with. The mood brought out the feelings of desperation that people feel when they're stuck in an unfulfilling life. I thought it was a great use of the music, and it really, I hate to say it was depressing, but it just, it gave it that impression about how depressing and, kind of desperation that the people have to try to get out of that situation. So I thought you did a great job.
Really strong opener with this one. The meat locker and just the hanging carcasses was a lot. It really just grabs you in right from the start. The theme that I noticed with this was men and their relationships with women, or how they view women. And we see that with the butcher who's, grating the meat symbolizing women. We see the boys who are catcalling the woman on the sidewalk, the trucker who clearly does not have Anna's best interests in mind, and the man who is dancing with Anna's daughter, who is not respecting her boundaries. But it also shows how women can kind of also be complicit in this. We see that with the woman at the beginning who's kind of in charge of the company, but also how women can help each other, which was seen with the dialogue with the translator, which I thought was very interesting. Clearly the translator worked for the company and presumably has a bias towards the company. And I was a bit nervous for Anna because there was a language barrier, which means there's a lot of opportunity to take advantage, which she did in some ways. But when she saw that this could be, a dangerous situation for Anna, she shut it down and she kept her safe. And yeah, it was really beautiful to see. And I'm like, okay, cool. Someone has her back. That's great.
I thought the cinematography and the storytelling was done very professionally. I thought the actress who played the lead was very grounded in the part, and I felt very empathetic for her situation. And, ultimately, I guess you could say it's a tragedy. And I think, the filmmakers really achieved in kind of recognizing that maybe there's things that we take for granted sometimes that we don't think about. So Nice job.
I thought this was very sad, but also relatable. They did a great job with plotting an original idea, and I think it was very well done, and the acting was amazing.
This was really good. I think it showed kind of the monotony that her life had taken on really, really well, especially in the beginning. I loved what felt very intentional, like use of silence, or with basically like just the background noise going on while she was at work, while she was at home. They just kind of like really highlighted how isolated her life was. There wasn't a whole lot of interaction, which I think lent itself well to then figuring out like why she would maybe try something new, why she would go along with this kind of sketchy, like, let's meet new people, but you have to sign some papers and stuff like that, because it did really go out like in a very believable way, showed like how her life had gotten to this place of kind of like monotony day after day and not a whole lot of interaction, and even like with her daughter, who she obviously still talks to and things like that, but there's not like that connection that it seems like she was wanting and missing.
And this one it's beautiful. It's like a really kind of, it's like a tragic story. I would say it's pretty sad. A lot of sad stuff in this. It's a very like bleak world, but it's done well. And yeah, it's kind of it's like suffocating in a good way, because it feels like it takes the joy out of all aspects of life. Like the food looks kind of disgusting. Like it's just everything's shown in a very unflattering light.